What up, Bulls Nation? Peck here, CHGO Bulls. We got a live show for y'all right around the corner. We're talking Ayo Dosunmu and Patrick Williams, who should start when Pat comes back from the foot injury. We're also talking trades. Brian Windhorst said some not so encouraging things on today's episode of the Hoop Collective. We're going to break all that down coming up next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from Marc Studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That is Big Dave. Bam! BWL Sports. Will, the GOAT, perfectly coiffed. Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb. And the queen of the controls, the one and only, Katie W, hanging out with us, fresh off of CHGO Sky Show. Busy day. Multitasking. Flexing. All over the place.
Making sweet graphics.
Woo! Oh, love that thumbnail for today.
That was a good one.
The Zach LaVine stock market. It's crashing. Before we dive into all that, gentlemen, how are we doing? Happy Monday. Today is day one of a 4-day break for the Chicago Bulls. No games until Friday.
Today.
It's crazy.
4-day break.
We
that should be cool.
Be here
that means
day.
Will be here more often, so that's good for ratings. Yeah, it's always a good thing. I have to say this. Have to send a happy birthday shout out to one of them who's always in the chat, and that's Julia. Shout out to her.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to her. Happy birthday. She's having a big happy birthday. That goes to you. So when she shows up, show her the love. Show her the love. All of that encompassing. So yes, Will.
Monday.
Okay.
Here we are.
We've reached Monday. We've also reached 25
Another
games.
Bears loss.
Oh,
Another.
Well, I mean, of course.
Another 25 games.
Is that what we're doing today? Is that what we're doing?
What?
Oh, and shout out to Joey Spathis, man, who hit me up on the weekend because Texas played Georgia and we had to have a conversation about our Longhorns.
Texas took the L, didn't
and
they?
they took the L.
OT?
OTL, which honestly for me was more encouraging than the last game because they just got stomped. But yeah, college football playoff, we in it. It doesn't matter. It's all good, man. So there it is. Hey, there's Julia.
Hey, happy birthday, Julia.
Happy birthday.
I saw the final score alert come across my phone, and I got sad and thought of Joe.
Yeah.
Less so you, because I still don't buy this whole I'm a Longhorns fan now thing.
Listen, man, you should know me by now. When I give my word on something, that's my word.
Okay.
So I gave him my word. I'm rolling with the Longhorns.
I'm just saying, you're not showing up to the office every other day in Longhorns gear like he did. You're not doing the Longhorns like hand logo thing like he does.
Well, he was doing all that with me. I do have a Longhorns hat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You just haven't noticed because you never notice, for like months in advance when I wear things. But yeah, I gave him the Longhorns like this, and we were having that conversation to talk. But yeah, I'm new to it, so I can't just go buy all the gear. Joey earned that. He went to school there. You know what I mean? He lives it. He stops people on the street when they got on Texas gear. I ain't there yet.
I think Joey was there. I don't know if he went to school. I have seen very little evidence of Joey getting himself a higher education.
Is this all about the book report?
Yes.
This is how new it's about the book report. Oh, man.
And just like not knowing what things and words are.
If you're a Longhorns fan now, does that mean that the horns down offends you? Or are you not there yet?
No, I'm not there yet. I told him that unless Illinois does something like gets in the college football playoff or something like that, or Northwestern, Illinois team I'm going to support. I was like, if that doesn't happen, I'm Longhorn all day. So I'm rolling with y'all. And I don't plan on that happening anytime soon, football-wise.
Sure.
For them. So, yeah, just Texas Longhorns football, who I'm rolling with. Shout out. I'm rolling. Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em. Hook 'em.
Grab the foot. Bow.
That's it. Put it in. Give me Vince Young. Play football.
I saw Vince Young and Colt McCoy were at that SEC championship game.
Matthew McConaughey as well.
Well, of course.
As always.
Did he play quarterback for the Longhorns?
He should have. He looked the part. I'll tell you that.
He could play.
Go look at his outfit.
In a movie.
What? Yes, he could.
He could play the quarterback in a movie.
Oh,
that's
true.
That's true.
I'm surprised he hasn't.
I'm surprised
That is
he'll
a
play
little
Goat in Goat's movie. When it comes in about another 10 years.
All right.
Well, I got to write these things down on Goat Talk. All right.
That's right.
That's how I got to do it.
Thank you for joining us. If you're hanging out with us, we are earlier than our usual 5:30 non-game night showtime today and tomorrow because of the baseball meetings going on. MLB winter meetings in Dallas. Our baseball crews are down there doing some reporting, so they are doing our 5:30 slot today and tomorrow. All right, gentlemen, let's begin. I know that we are hopefully preparing for Patrick Williams' return soon. I know, Goat, you gave us a little bit of an update during, post game on Sunday. Is it still that it was like planned? He was not going to do the back-to-back. He was doubtful and then ruled out yesterday. As far as maybe Friday, is that a window of possibility?
Yeah, Billy hasn't specifically said as much, but I think based on the way that he's talked about it, with him being ruled out and then being doubtful and then having these 4 days off here, I could definitely see Friday being his first game back. I could see him coming back the following Monday, but then they've got another break between Monday's game and then their next one. I can't remember exactly how many days it is. Maybe you guys know off the top of your head. But maybe they just give him that time to just continue to let it rest. And then I think the conditioning part is one thing Billy said of just, look, it's one thing for Alonzo Ball to be able to keep his conditioning up when he's got the wrist injury because it's a wrist. He can be on the bike. He can be running.
Right.
With Patrick's foot and them trying to reduce inflammation, he has to be off of it. And so with that, you lose a lot of the conditioning. And we saw him kind of have to build that up through the first part of the season where he struggled a little bit and then started to put together some good games after he kind of worked his way into shape. So I think that's an area where you could see maybe him take a little bit longer to get back and maybe a good reason to just give him those extra days to build up that conditioning when you have this window here. So I would expect him back on the sooner side, but whether it's, Friday or Monday or the following game, Thursday
the 19th.
I think the return is somewhat imminent.
So that is the question. Hi, Tony Gill. Is that when Patrick comes back, be it Friday or a week from today or a week from Thursday, does he come back as a starter, which is what he was for the 15 games where he has been active so far this season, which he has largely been throughout his Bulls career up to this point? Or does Ayo Dosunmu hold on to that starting spot, Dave? Because Ayo has played 25 games. That's all of them so far. Reliability, availability. He started 12 of them because of other players' injuries. We have known for a while now that Ayo is very capable of being a starter and very dutiful reserve role player. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like I'm about to get into my Will Purdue. So I had to give the dramatic pause.
So what do we say?
It's like Will Purdue said about Ayo Dosunmu. At some point in time, you're going to have to say, why isn't he starting? Why is he not your starter? His consistency is just, you can't deny it. And he is a player that whether you play him at the 1, the 2, the 3, and even the 4, he is the same basketball player each time. He knows how to use his strengths to his advantage in every possible scenario. So if he's playing the point guard position, he's going to defend you really, really well. Hi, Trae Young. If he's playing the 2 guard position, you can leave him if you want to, but he'll pop open some mid-range shots. He'll try to drive to the bucket more, do those kind of things. When he's playing at the 3, you see him more in transition. You won't see him handling the ball as much. You'll see him just in transition, trying to run and do those kind of things. When you see him at the 4, you kind of see the same thing. And, of course, those guys might leave him more open for a 3-point shot. You see him taking those in those instances. I like to see him at the 5 just to see what he could do there, too, as well. Because I don't think there's going to be a change in anything he does. He is consistently going to give you double-digit points. He's going to give you high energy. He's going to give you great defense, transition buckets, and he is just going to be somebody that you have to have on the floor for your basketball team at all point in times. I cannot say the same thing about Patrick Williams. I can say that about him in certain spots where he can fit, like, okay, I hope he can defend this guy tonight. Oh, we going to play Giannis? Oh, we're going to play a bigger guy like that? Yes, put Patrick in. Let's see him defensively. I don't know if he will help me or hurt me on the offensive end because it's not consistent enough. I don't know if he'll hurt me or help me just not even shooting the basketball, but just even facilitating and running an offense because I've seen him turn it over a million times. I don't count on him getting to the free throw line. Ayo doesn't get there either, but Ayo goes to the bucket. So he gets an opportunity to maybe get to the line more so than Patrick Williams would. But it's getting harder and harder, Matt, Will, to say why Ayo Dosunmu should not be starting. And it's getting harder and harder to say it's about a position because he has thrived at all 4 of those positions on the floor for the Chicago Bulls. And the one person that I know that has not is a guy that is constantly inconsistent and is constantly injured. Again, the injuries aren't his fault. Those things just happen like that. But the inconsistency that is on him. Not being able to shoot it so well, even though he shoots close to the 40s, in the 3-point, but he's only shooting about 3 attempts. Ayo shoots about the same kind of attempts. He might shoot 33%. Well, right now, he's not. He's shooting about 50% for this month.
His season number is a little over 32% from 3 right now. It's because he started
very slow,
and he's building his percentage back up.
Got it up at 32% in November. Got it ridiculously at 50-something% right now, and shooting 60% from the field as well during this month. So he knows how to fill these roles, man, and he knows how to help your team win basketball games, which is why Billy just loves putting them out there. But we have to start thinking about, should we be putting in pen that Patrick Williams should be your starting 4? Because it's not looking like that when I watch Ayo Dosunmu on the floor. I don't feel like I'm missing something, even though I know I should feel that way for a guy who's 6'4", for a dude who's undersized, for a guy, you know what I mean? That's like that. I shouldn't feel that way about a dude who's 6'8" and much bigger than him and should have, more upside. Ayo is playing himself into that starting position for me. He is definitely playing himself in that starting position, and it's just more of a burden on Billy to decide who's going to be starting as Patrick Williams gets more healthy.
Yeah, I think you bring up a lot of good points, and I agree with, I think, all of them. I'm trying to think of one I don't agree with. I can't. But I will say this, I don't really care who starts.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been a thing for me. I get that people do care about it. Certainly the players care about it. To me, it matters who closes. Yeah. And when you think about who needs to be in the closing lineup to give yourself the best chance to win, Ayo absolutely needs to be in there. And so when you think about it that way, why shouldn't he also be starting? I think Billy trusts him. I think you even see offensively, Billy put the ball in his hands to run the break in half court after makes. They're putting the ball in Ayo's hands because he does what they want them, what Billy wants them to do. Mm-hmm. They lean into Ayo's strengths because Ayo's strengths represent what the team wants to do, which is run, put pressure on the rim, spray it out, 3, defend. Ayo's really good at all those things. So I absolutely think Ayo, and I've said this before, I think he's the 3rd best player on the team this year. I think he should be playing a ton. It doesn't really matter to me whether he starts or not because I think he'll be in there for the closing group. At the same point, I know the production and the box score stats have not been very favorable to Patrick. I still think that there's a lot he does that's really important. When you look at just opposing teams and most of those guys, most teams have a big wing that they need to guard. Yeah. And Zach has been the primary defender in a lot of these groups because he's the biggest, longest wing on the starting lineup. And I think that Patrick can take some of that pressure off of him. He obviously shoots the ball well. He does not put pressure on the rim very much, and that's something he needs to work on. But I still do think that he does some stuff well. I think the question is really more about the closing lineups. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it that way, who have we already seen get pulled out of the closing lineup?
Patrick.
Josh Giddey. And so to me, it's Ayo, it's Kobe, it's Zach, it's Patrick, it's Vooch. Mm-hmm. And that's the best unit that, I don't know what the numbers would say. I can look that up while somebody else is talking. I think that's the best unit that gives them the best chance to win. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to close with them, maybe you start with them, maybe not. But to me, that's your best 5.
I mean, usually how you start is how you want to finish. In the NBA, we've seen even the championship Bulls would have a different starting lineup and a different closing lineup.
I mean, they started Kukoc over Rodman in that Eastern Conference Finals against India in '98.
Correct. And Dennis was the one, who would close, depending on how Kukoc was playing. Yeah. Who scored 30 in that game 7. So he's in the game. But I can't count on Patrick for that. And And you're right. Well, like maybe it isn't important who starts, and it's more important than who finishes. But I also feel it's important who starts, not just to the players, but just putting your best foot forward. I think it's very important, and how you start a game is very important. I'm not just going to put you out there to appease and say, oh, well, let's see, guys. Well, he's got to start, and then we'll take him out and do that. He hasn't earned that. He has not earned that cachet to just say, well, we're going to put him out there and then have a seat and sit him down. There's no playoff contention behind him. There's no all-stars behind him. Nothing like that. I'm still trying to figure out, do you want to play basketball? Like, it's like my man Sabine used to say about Otto Porter Jr. Basketball, is basketball his favorite thing or not? He said Otto Porter Jr.'s favorite, it was like his fourth favorite thing was basketball, and which was hilarious because it was kind of true. But that's what we're trying to work out with Patrick. I'm not trying to work that stuff out with Ayo. I already know it. I know it from day one when he walked in here, what he wants. He's basketball crazy, and he wants to be on the floor, and he's intelligent, and he's helpful, and he has leadership skills, and he's got all these things that I truly need from somebody to be on the floor, including playing any position I put him in.
Yeah. We got to take our first break there. When we come back, I do want to continue this conversation at least for a minute because I have a few thoughts on y'all's thoughts. And it's a fascinating conversation. We got some people chiming in the comments as well. We will get to that. And then, of course, our trade talk later on in the episode. Hit the like while we read some ads. Stick around. Today's CHGO Bulls brought to you by our friends at Circa Sportsbook. Man, we are getting close to playoff football.
CFP.
Longhorns fell down to 9, I think, in the college rankings after losing that SEC championship game.
I thought it was 5th, but
you know what? You are correct. It is 5th. It is 5th.
Welcome.
We'll see. We'll see how the college football playoff seeding gets done. We'll see who is there in the NFL. I don't think the Bulls are, or the Bears are, quote unquote, in the hunt anymore. But that's okay, because for those teams that are heading to the playoffs in the pigskins, whether it be pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service with real human beings, with beating hearts and eyes and ears and all those kinds of things that are capable of helping people like you if you have any questions about their app. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting. Circa has it all. Fun to bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Beer.
Yes, sir.
You drink it. You like it. You get another. You do it again. Responsibly. Over 21. But between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained-out barbecue into the Will to Go Gottlieb and Will Purdue 32nd annual karaoke house party held at Sale Guys Jim's house? Or, after a tough loss, settle scores with that ice-cold peace offering. I got a key. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a Frosty Cold Coors Light. It is Mountain Cold Refreshment, because when those mountains turn blue, oh yes, you know what to do. It's cold lager, cold filter, and a cold package for a smoother finish. So when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open that Frosty Cold Coors Light, that Mountain Cold Refreshment that's crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of those times to choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden,
Colorado. You guys notice how every time we read an ad, Jim just comes sauntering out of the other?
It's not. First of all, shout out to sauntering, but it's not a coincidence. Yes,
it's like he's being summoned. Yeah,
he's been doing it for a while.
Sales guy Jim is still in the building by the time a CHGO Bull show rolls around. He will.
He just comes out for just the ads.
Yes.
Honestly, it's more consistent than anything else I can think of.
Patrick Williams.
Hey, I was
me and Katie sharing a brain right
there.
I didn't say it. You guys did. But
Anthony in the comments, speaking of, said, not a fan of Patrick, but really feel like this year he could benefit being that sixth man, an offensive punch for that second unit with no DeMar. We'll
I got to see him punch first.
JK said, what about starting two guards instead of three? Try Giddey, LaVine, one of your young wings, Patrick Williams, and Vooch. Have Kobe and Ayo run with the bench. That's an interesting one I had not heard pitched before. Look,
like A-Dot.
But like the whole.
Did we make a trade yet?
No, we have not. We're not even December 15th yet. So, That doesn't mean we can't talk about it, but
yeah,
no.
yeah.
The thing about what start 2 guards instead of 3, I mean, Big Dave, you were upset the other day when we saw a lot of Billy going 4 guard.
Yeah.
And we know that has been something that Billy does because he likes guard-heavy lineups, but he has also been given by his bosses guard-heavy rosters.
Correct.
So it's sort of like his hand has been forced to a degree when it comes to Billy and who he's putting out there in these 5-man lineups. As far as the starting lineup goes, I agree with Goat and you as far as Goat saying, hey, close with your best 5, but also, Dave, putting your best foot forward as you put it, also start with your best 5.
Yeah.
Because theoretically speaking, if you're in the starting lineup, then you will be in position to play heavier minutes and a bigger part of the coach's rotation in a 48-minute basketball game. I get that there's maybe some element to, people are talking about Kobe and Ayo being offensive punch. I think Katie even posed the question in the chat, like, what about like Ayo's points off the bench? You need those bench points. It's not like every NBA team has a scouting department that scouts other teams and opponents that they have coming up on their schedule. It's not like you can like keep a secret. There's no advantage that I can tell of like, well, we're not going to start our 5 best players. Well, our 3rd best player, we're actually going to hide him down at the end of the bench.
Gotcha.
So the other team doesn't know he's here and how good he is. And then you throw, this is not Manny Patinkin and Princess Bride saying, I am not left-handed. Like, no, you start your best 5, you close with your best 5. If Patrick Williams is not one of those best 5, then oopsie, you gave a lot of money to a guy who maybe is not heavily or should heavily be involved in your team's long-term plans. Yeah. And the same thing I think I can say is about Giddey, because if you're talking about Ayo deserving a starting spot with the way he's played, but also needing size and a guy who can defend those potent wings, as Goat was pointing out, and that being Patrick Williams' primary assignment every night, more so than scoring. You can also say, well, leave Patrick in there for the size and for the defense and take Josh Giddey out of your starting lineup. And your starting lineup, if you swap Ayo in it for Giddey, gets defensively a lot better. It still plays with pace. Ayo shooting's coming around. You have more floor spacing. You have more switchability on defense. To me, like, we're talking Ayo versus Pat, and I get it because Anthony said in the comments not to hate on Pat. What's he really earned in his career other than being the 4th overall pick in that 2020 draft class? I get that. I get that Bulls fans are frustrated with Pat and don't know if he's worthy of being a starter. But if you're talking about Ayo deserving to be a starter and whose spot he takes, I think there's a valid argument for Giddey making more sense than Patrick.
Let me make this even more complicated. Where does Lonzo fit in? Because if you're talking about the closing lineup, he's the guy who I didn't mention who actually not only has Billy's trust, but gives you the best chance to win. So
yeah,
obviously he's on the minutes limit. He's not going to be starting because Billy's talked about this in the past. Like if you start and you're only playing 20 minutes a game, that means you're sitting for like 15 straight minutes of game time, which can be tough. But yeah, I mean, now you talk about a guard heavy lineup and rotation. You've got all these guys who parts of their game you want on the court at all times,
right?
But it's hard to make it all work. And that's where, as Chris says, are we talking about trades? Like maybe a trade kind of opens up some of the stuff and makes it make a little bit more sense. But I mean, we're still 6 days away from December 15th. And even then trades are not just like gonna open the floodgates and happen like that. So I think it's going to be difficult for any trade to happen during the middle of the season this year, just because of the new salary cap rules. But the Bulls are going to be trying. It's just a matter of like whether they can actually get it done. And I think in some ways they probably felt like, all right, we'll use the beginning of the year to rehab Zach and Vooch's value. And then if we are able to move on from those guys and maybe Lonzo too, then we don't have to figure this starting rotation out. Like we'll just play our best guys. But if that doesn't happen, now that's where you run into this question of like, how do you manage all these guys' minutes?
Can you give a quick explanation as to why you don't think you'll see a lot of early trades because of the salary cap?
Well, I think the early element of it is just that it's only 25 games in, 26 games in to the season for some of these teams, and that isn't enough time for them to like really evaluate what they have on their roster and what they still need. And so I think just in general, if this was a normal year, that's why you probably wouldn't see a bunch of trades go down. Maybe 1 or 2 would happen before the deadline, but then most of them happening the week of and up to the day of the trade deadline. But now you introduce these apron rules, and you look at all these teams that are either going to be hard capped at the first apron because they've used half or more of the mid-level exception, which the Bulls did. Not that they're going into the aprons in the first place. You have teams that are like the Bulls, just not going into the tax. You think of the Pelicans or some of those other smaller market teams. And then you have teams that are in the second apron that even if they want to spend as much as they possibly can, they can't take back more money than they send out in a trade. That's true for first apron teams too. So not only can, like, let's say the Bucks, for example, are like, all right, we're done with this Chris Middleton thing. His ankles are toast. Like, we need to bring in a guy that's more effective.
Toast.
We want to trade him for Zach LaVine. Well, guess what? Chris Middleton's making about $13 million less than Zach LaVine on an annual basis. So in order to do that, you need to attach $13 million of salary. Let's say, I don't think this is completely accurate, but let's say Bobby Portis plus Chris Middleton added up to Zach LaVine's salary.
Okay.
Right? Well, the Bucks are in the second apron. They can't do a 2-for-1. So it just becomes very difficult with these rules to make any of these trades possible, especially ones that you're sending so much salary out. And so as well as Zach's playing, and I think he is playing some of the best basketball that I've seen from him,
Without a doubt.
just the fact that he's making so much money just makes that inherently tough to move. And so I think it's going to be hard for the Bulls to figure that out. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I do think if it does happen, it's not going to be until later, and maybe some injuries pop up, or, you know, maybe some teams really feel like they have a window, or, you know, don't want to get left behind by some of these other teams. I think it will take some kind of extenuating circumstances for teams to really get to a point where they want to make that move. And it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
It is. You know, as we'll talk more about the new Zach LaVine trade stuff, because you were already dipping your toe in that pool, but just to kind of wrap up the Kobe, or I mean the Ayo and Patrick stuff, there is a chance that one of these two guys is not here after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Patrick is not eligible to be traded on December 15th, when a lot of players on newly signed contracts become trade eligible. He actually is not eligible to be traded until January 15th. 2025. So always keep that stipulation in mind when you're talking about who might be on the trading block, or who might the Bulls at least be willing to listen to offers for. Patrick, there's no reason they shouldn't listen to offers.
None.
I don't think so at this point. And Ayo, and I know that you've talked about this, you know, before, and you might be writing about it again in the not too distant future. Ayo and Kobe are players whose contracts make them in a very valuable position trade wise because of what they make versus what they provide your team, and just how complex the new CBA rules have made trades, how difficult the new CBA rules have made trades, and the players who are most likely to be moved between now and February 8th are players on like middle class salaries or bargain, you know, basement basement kind of deals, vet minimums, or modest contracts. Think Javon Carter's contract, think Torrey Craig's contract, something like that. So because we are there, let's just dive into some more of this trade talk. We'll give you the headline, and then we can take a break and then come back and dive into it more. Okay. This was from the Hoop Collective that came out earlier today. Brian Windhorst with the two Tims, Bontemps, and McMahon. And they were talking about the Bulls-Sixers game a little bit. And mostly, of course, the attention went to Embiid playing and what's going on with the Sixers team. Sure. But Windhorst said, before we move on, he did want to make note of something with Zach LaVine, if you will, Katie. Quote, Zach's having an excellent year. We know he's been on the trade block for a year now at least, yet I hear nothing about LaVine on the trade market. And I don't think it's because the Bulls aren't interested in trading him, despite playing this well. He also went on to say Zach LaVine's playing well enough to be traded. If this was 2 years ago, I think there's a good chance he would be traded, and we'll see. We've got 2 months left. 2 years ago, referring to before this new CBA was around, and Zach was on a new contract that at the time didn't seem so cumbersome. Okay, so there it is, that headline, little teaser. We got to knock out a couple more quick ads. We'll come back and dive into that conversation about what Wendy had to say on the Hoop Collective. Hit that like and listen to some ads.
In your ear. Listen to it.
In your ear.
I want to have a conversation, man.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I kind of want to talk. You know what I mean? I understand we've talked sports.
Sure.
Understand, we talk other things like that. Will's quaff.
Oh, yeah.
But
always happy to talk about that.
We got to talk ComEd.
Oh! daisy.
See what I mean?
Please.
This is why. Because Matt.
Yeah.
ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient.
You just blew my brain in half. I did not know that ComEd did that.
Yep. The Energy Efficiency Program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
This is life-altering information.
I
I am
thought so.
blown away. Tell me now, Dave. Tell me, what does a business have to do to cash in on these savings?
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you asked me that, Matt Peck. You are just intelligent, sir. Just sign up for a free facility assessment at ComEd.com/BIZ.
That's it? ComEd. What? That just seems so simple. I can't wrap my head around why other people and why more businesses aren't doing this, taking advantage of this.
I don't know either, man. I mean, maybe they got the website.
How could you forget the website? You just told it to me. It's ComEd.com/biz.
I said what now?
ComEd.com/BIZ is what you said.
One more time for me there.
ComEd.com/biz.
I think that should do. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law.
Hey, today's show brought to you also by our friends at VeriLife. Are you looking for the perfect way to elevate your day?
Kinda.
At VeriLife Dispensary, they've got everything you need from premium cannabis products to expert advice. Whether you're new to cannabis or a connoisseur, their knowledgeable bud tenders are here to help you make the perfect selections. With 8 convenient locations across Illinois, discover your perfect experience, and it's never been easier. VeriLife proudly offers a price match guarantee, ensuring that you get the very best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. Don't miss out on their latest deals and exclusive offers only at VeriLife cannabis stores and online at verilife.com. Mention promo code CHGO25 in store and receive 25% off one regular priced item. Restrictions apply. Again, that's promo code CHGO25, the numbers. And the website is VeriLife, VeriLife.com.
Give me the like.
Just give me the likes.
Katie says, give it the likes. Shout out, Bob.
Sean Paul?
Shout out, Bob. Just give it the likes and press the go.
Shout out to Trey Axel, who threw us a super chat saying the roster's so front heavy with quality backcourt players.
I like that.
I was the new Caruso. I thought Timu Zach would get some minutes. Duarte.
Yo.
Oh my God.
That's the new nickname for Chris Duarte is Timu Zach.
That's the name for anything that's kind of like the
It's like
opposite
yeah,
bootleg.
it's those
Like-
knockoff brand
Yes,
stuff that's flooding
correct.
everybody's
Like the
algorithms
Walmart
and
version.
ads.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the Chinese company that's stealing everyone's data, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Well
that's
done.
that's harsh for Duarte. That's a harsh nickname. Nobody wants to be Timu.
To be fair, I thought he was Zach LaVine sitting up in Summer League. I
They
did.
do look
Yes.
very
And they were like, no, it is not.
From a distance, if you squint a little bit,
And see the watch. That's what I saw. I was like, oh, ain't nobody else got a watch like that.
it almost
Timu
looks
Zach
like
did.
a nice piece of fabric.
Timu Zach. Shout out, Trey.
Oh,
that was
man.
awesome. That's
Uh,
excellent, sir.
Okay, so circling back to what
We
we
should have paid you $5 for that one.
Seriously.
to what we just dove into on the previous side of the break. Brian Windhorst, Hoop Collective, earlier today saying he is hearing nothing about Zach LaVine and the Zach LaVine trade market. He also said, I'm just saying, Zach had a great game today. He was talking Bulls Sixers yesterday. He's having a great season. I'm hearing nothing. Doesn't mean there's nothing. I am hearing nothing. And somebody in the comments, Stefan, just said Windhorst is a hater. Well, I don't know if you mean a Bulls hater or just like a hater in general who just goes on his podcast and only says negative things. I don't think that's the case with Windhorst. I think for the most part, he's had a pretty balanced, vision of what's going on in the NBA and has for some time. Obviously, rose to national NBA media prominence being somebody who covered LeBron since a very young age in LeBron's career. Why would he do that?
Wendy is my goat.
But I think what Windhorst does know is who's saying what around the NBA at all times. He's not Woj or, the artist formerly known as Woj with all of the bombs and the breaking news and stuff. But Wendy knows what's going on. Wendy talks to a lot of people, and Wendy has sneakily broken news before it actually gets officially broken many times. all the time.
Yeah.
So if Windhorst is saying on his podcast, he's like tumbleweeds, ghost town on one of the big trade names, not just this season, but one of the biggest trade names in the NBA for the last 2 years. He's hearing nothing. I think that that's something Bulls fans have to listen to and accept as a reality.
Well, and also, like you said, being a LeBron guy, which means that also he's going to be down with Rich Paul, who also happens to be Zach LaVine's agent. So, yeah.
Dominoes, y'all.
Do you think he wants to deliver bad news like that and he's that connected within that circle? I don't think that's the case. So, yes, Matt's correct. Absolutely. If he's saying these things, you got to put some stock in that. And, again, it's early. It hasn't even started yet. Nobody's had any major serious injuries, thankfully, knock on this right here. But there's still possibilities, like Will is saying. There's still a possibility that these things could happen. They're just slim. There are very slim possibilities that they can go down, and strictly because of the money, not because of the player. They're hoping that the play can overcome the money. In this instance, that has happened before in the NBA many, many times. The difference in what makes Zach so unique in this is because he has nothing behind it, behind that money. There's no MVP behind it. There's no 6-time All-Star behind it. There's no All-NBA behind it. There's no most improved player behind it. Like, there's none of those things behind it. And that's what makes it a little bit different in this instance for a guy like Zach. So, and no playoff wins or anything like that behind it. But, yeah, there's still a possibility. Teams could still go ahead and pull the trigger on something like this. But like the GOAT is over here saying, man, slim pickings.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be tough. And, like, maybe it happens this trade deadline. Maybe it happens this summer. But, like, it's not like these rules are going anywhere either. Like, I just think that with 3 years left on his deal and with the amount being what it is, it's just going to be hard to move him, period. Like, for the rest of this contract, I think it's going to be very hard to do that. I also wonder if we are, like, forgetting why they even wanted to trade him in the first place. Like, I think part of the whole reason why some of these trade rumors came up last October, last offseason, was because they knew, the front office knew, that the only way to bring back DeMar DeRozan was to first move Zach LaVine's money, because they had basically stacked their books in such a way that there wasn't space to keep DeMar. And that ended up happening. DeMar's now gone. And so I wonder now if it's just like, are we going to have to, like, pay to get rid of this guy? He's playing too well. Like, that doesn't make sense to do that. He's bought in. His attitude has been fantastic. His approach has been great. He's helping the younger players. He's been, like, great to be around. Like, is it even worth it to try to push him out the door? And I don't know what the answer to that. I mean, I think they need to, like, move on still and just and have a new direction and, like, commit to something. But I also wonder if now that they have the room to be able to keep him and that he's bought in and playing well and has a good attitude and really is, like, I mean, I just said playing well. He's playing, like, some of the best basketball we've ever seen from him.
Very true.
Like, does it make sense to get a second-round pick or just salary dump him when he is contributing? I don't know. I mean, probably, but, like, I do think that at a certain point you have to, like, I mean, it's like when you are in, like, a feud with somebody and you, like, it's been so many years that you're, like, mad at them. You don't even remember why you were mad in the first place.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I know why I hate you, GOAT. But
yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I don't know. I just think they need to, like, reevaluate their position with that. And maybe they come to the same conclusion, and I think that's probably the right one. But if the equation is, like, pay to get off of Zach or get a second-round pick and, like, equal bad salary, like, what is the point of that?
But for me, it's the question is, how do you want to lose? Do you want to lose, continue to be mediocre, or do you want to lose towards the bottom of the standings trying to get your draft pick?
It is such a Bulls fan question to ask.
How do you want to lose,
My
man?
God.
That's the question for me.
But,
how
like,
do you want to do it? Because keeping Zach, yes, he's great. He's doing all these things for the young guys. You're still a losing team.
Yeah, and I think that the way Vooch is playing right now, he would have more of an impact. Trading him would have more of an impact on the wins and losses. Not to say Zach's not impacting winning, because he absolutely is. But I just think, especially when you look at, we've talked about this backlog of, like, really good guards that need minutes. That's not the case in the front court. So if you were to move on from Vooch, now you got Jalen Smith playing 30 minutes a night and Adama Sanogo, like, that would really hit your depth and productivity. in a way that I don't think would be as dramatic for moving off of Zach, just because you still have good guys in there that can take up some of that usage.
Right.
So to me, even if you keep Zach this year, which I think is the most likely outcome at this point, I think if you are able to move off of Vooch, that would help put you in position to keep that pick.
And I agree that the league-wide perception of Zach has been far too low. But I do think through these first 25 games, and he had that little stint where he missed a little bit of time, but he's largely proved that he is healthy again, and he's having one of the most efficient seasons of his career thus far. I think people are taking note of that around the league. I think people are like, oh, wow, Zach LaVine. Yeah, right. Remember, he can score 30 points a night.
Mm-hmm.
He is, silky from deep. He can slash to the rim at will, and he's also playing a more team-friendly brand of basketball with this new Bulls offense so far. But it's still the CBA. Like, I think maybe you can say that the perception around the league about who Zach LaVine, the NBA player, is and what he's worth has started to recover more to the median than when it went way too far the negative way. But that doesn't change how difficult it is, as Goat laid it out, especially for first and second apron teams, to make a trade of a player attached to that big of a salary.
Who are the ones that are going to be looking for him, right? Because they're the teams that are competing that want to add a guy like Zach LaVine.
Correct. And Alexander in the comments asked earlier, can someone please explain to me why these dumb CBA rules were put in place? And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Goat, but I think it was basically to try and make it harder for those upper echelon teams to do things that are sneaky, loophole-y, collect all the best players. It was in the name of parity that they put these rules into place. Exactly. But I think, and they were talking about this on Hoop Collective, Bontemps and McMahon and Windy, they all were saying, like, yeah, everyone we've talked to on either side of these CBA negotiations have all collectively agreed after the fact that it was a bad choice to put these new CBA rules and restrictions in place.
Well, it's like, it's the minor rules that are so restrictive and not the major ones. Like, I think it's a good thing to prevent a team like the Clippers from spending $100 million more in salary than the Pelicans or than the Bucks, or not the Bucks. The Bucks are spending a ton, but you get what I mean. The smaller market teams,
right?
It's better for the league when those smaller market teams have a chance. The problem is
those small market teams like the Bulls a chance, league.
The problem is that with rules like you can't send out $1 more than what you take in, or you can't combine two players. I mean, it just makes trades impossible. It makes, like, even thinking about what trades are possible a challenge, let alone actually executing them. And so, yeah, I don't know if it's possible that they can, like, amend this new CBA, but I think it goes for like 6 or 8 or 10 years, something like that. So it's not like it's just going to go away.
The collective crew did make note of the fact that in the next couple of years, with a couple of salary cap increases, the harshness of trying to navigate trades on those high contract players will get a little easier.
There will be more breathing room.
Because there will be more wiggle room.
But at the same point, like, Zach's salary is still going up. It's not going up as fast as the salary cap will go up. So Zach's salary goes up 8% per year, but it's the same fixed 8% off of his original number.
Yeah.
So he's getting 8% fixed raises every year. The league should be projected to go up by 10% compounding every year. So 10% of last year's number added, and then 10% of this year's number added. Okay. So that's expanding at a greater rate than Zach's contract, but Zach's contract is still going up. I mean, he's going to be making $49 million in the final year of his deal. That's
good for him.
It's a lot of money, and it's just hard to move that. But at the same point, I mean, you're going to see guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum who just signed massive contracts, making $60 million in a year, and so it just won't look quite as bad. But at the same time, it's like, well, Tyler Hero's still making 25 right now. That's a big salary. I don't really want to take that on. So even though it's not as big as somebody else's, it's still a big salary, and that makes it hard to move.
Sure,
it does. We got to take one more quick break here. Then we will come back to dive back into this conversation and wrap it up. A few more details from that collective conversation that I found to be interesting. What the Bulls should do with Zach, and maybe other trade stuff on the other side of this break. Hit the like. Do it for Katie. Do it for Troll Joe. Come on now.
She's going to come get you. Family Farms, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, tell me about Bacon Wrap Chicken, Dave.
Oh, their culinary journey is woven with passion, dedication, and a commitment to crafting the finest bacon-wrapped chicken, a timeless delicacy that has tantalized taste buds since 1974. Woo. Join them in this flavorful adventure where every bite tells the story of tradition, quality, and the enduring spirit of family farms. The tradition continues. Now, you can find Family Farms bacon-wrapped chicken even easier. Look for us in the meat department at your local Woodman's, Mariano's, and of course, Bearcats. Craving a taste of home without leaving yours? Check out baconwrapchicken.com or click on the link for the Amazon store, which also includes the legendary Rocky Rococo's Italian sausage. And to find out when the new amazing Cajun Nation flavors will become available with authentic Louisiana bite shetty. Experience the flavor that's become a family favorite for generations. Visit your nearest Woodman's, Mariano's, or Bearcats on Amazon. BaconWrapChicken.com. Family Farms, the taste of home.
Ooh.
Damn, I'm good.
Like that.
I like the first part of that was like one of those 1990s movie trailer voices.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like
and
that.
then when I get to tantalize and drop it off and come back, yeah. Katie liked it too. She just didn't want to give me the comment.
In a world.
In a world.
Oh,
tantalizing.
Tantalizing taste
wrapped
buds.
chicken.
Born in
Where
74.
Taste buds tantalize, and the Bulls are headed for potential downfall.
Potential downfall.
Oh, man. Shout out to our guy,
Nothing
Casey
potential
the
about it.
Thespian, man. That was a fun time, wasn't it?
That was
That also, wasn't that a Windhorst soundbite? Where all the
Potential
potential downfall started? I think it was.
I think you're right.
Teams around the league are looking at the Bulls and their potential downfall and trying to steal some of their pieces away. Parentheses, Alex Caruso. Could have gotten picks. It's okay, I'm fine.
Get to the ad, man. You got it.
Oh, right, we got an ad. Prize Picks. That's one of the things that I could do to have fun and distract myself from my Bulls fan anger and hate.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, make some money doing so.
Two things
It's
at
Prize
once.
Picks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players in your lineup for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the only real money DFS platform with an injury insurance policy that your lineup stays in play even if one of those players in your lineup gets injured. If that player leaves in the first half and doesn't return in the second half of that game, they will just remove that player and keep the rest of your lineup intact so you can still hit and win money on that lineup that you put together because you're so smart.
Yes, you are.
And it's not fair if a player gets hurt. That has nothing to do with your sports pick'ems and your smartsness.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you do. Download that Prize Picks app today. Use promo code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Just a $5 lineup. That's promo code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Whether that lineup hits or misses, either way, you're getting that $50. Prize Picks, run your game.
Run it.
That's right. That's right, Katie. I said smartsness.
I just wanted to make sure that one didn't go unnoticed.
I was saying it ironically. I was using it ironically.
Sure you were, pal.
Well, that was a good comeback. That was a good retort. Okay, guys. So, Zach LaVine, trade market, very little.
Mm-hmm.
Not hearing anything, says Brian Windhorst. And it's not just Zach. I saw our guy Colin in the comments a minute ago saying, like, yo, have we mentioned yet that Zach LaVine is shooting about 42% on 7.7 threes per game? Like, who wouldn't want that? It's not that no one wants that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Zach LaVine, were he not on this $40 million contract, would be drawing a lot of interest in, like, right now.
Tons.
Like, AK's phone will be ringing.
Yeah.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
But as Bontemps put it, it's tough to trade a guy making more than $40 million, period. The barrier to do that is very high, and Zach LaVine does not meet it. And the barrier has lots of,
barriers
to it. As you laid them out, you need to find a team that has a player on a $40 million contract, if it's a second apron team, that they want to trade away for Zach LaVine. What is that list of players? Because I don't think there is one.
It's very short if it is.
McMahon said in the pod he was talking to an NBA general manager the other day and asked that NBA GM, who do you suppose the best player is who gets traded between now and this season's trade deadline?
Mm-hmm.
And upon giving it some thought, that NBA GM said, I don't know, probably Cam Johnson. Good player. Brooklyn, what is that team doing this season? Not winning. Maybe they're trying to get something for him.
Winning more than they probably want to.
Yeah. Ahead of the Bulls,
yeah.
for sure.
Cam Johnson, $23.6 million is his salary this year. McMahon said, point being, it's not somebody on a Jimmy Butler kind of contract. People like, there's been Jimmy Butler trade talks, right?
Yeah.
It's not somebody on a Zach LaVine level contract. Not 35, not 40 million. It's a guy who's, by NBA standards, a middle-class salary. Zach LaVine is not in the NBA middle class.
No.
Zach LaVine is in the NBA upper class, contract-wise. And it just seems more and more that those players aren't getting moved this season.
Yeah, but for me, again, it's what's behind it as well. That other barrier that you're talking about, the millions of barriers, the cachet that's behind you, for me, is one of the most important barriers. Nothing with that. Two-time All-Star, which is awesome, and all those things are great. But for the salary he's making, I'm sure we can find that list of players making those salaries and go look at what they've done, you know what I mean, in this league. And then ask yourself, would you still trade for them? Because the answer is going to be yes, about 9 times out of 10 for the guys that you're going to run down and mention who are making those kind of salaries. The 9 out of the 10 is Zach LaVine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's that one. He is just simply that one. I'm hoping that the team just feels like they really can make a championship run, because that's who I'm looking at, is a team who feels like they can make this deep playoff run and probably get into a finals. And they feel like they're a player away, and that player away could be a guy like Zach LaVine. Golden State, I'm looking at you. But it's hopefully you can find those teams. Will, do you feel like, because I'm always thinking of the Miami Heat when making these kind of things and making these kind of big trades to say, well, we're going, because they're going for it every single year. And they seem like that team that doesn't mind spending that money and taking those penalties and paying those taxes if it means that they are going to win. Do you feel like the Heat should be considered as one of those teams, or can they still be considered as one of those teams? Please crush the dreams.
I mean, if you want to get your dreams crushed,
Come on with it.
Go look at Tyler Hero's numbers,
Mm-hmm.
because they're pretty much the same as Zach's, and he's making $24 million.
Just
Mm-hmm.
named the NBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week, by the way.
24, 5.5, and 5 on 47, 42, 87 shooting splits.
Crash.
So that's, I mean, and look, not to say that the Heat wouldn't be in on Zach, but like, I think they've got a guy who can give you a lot of the same stuff that Zach can for half the price. Same with the Clippers. I mean, you look at Norman Powell's numbers right now. I mean, he's having a career year, 23.5 points, 49% shooting, 48% on threes, 84 from the line.
Wow.
So similar player giving you similar production. Maybe if it's not even quite as good, but for the $18 million a year that he's making, you would rather have that compared to Zach on his contract. I also think the Clippers are tough because they don't even have Kawhi back yet. And I think there's ways that they could get to Zach's money, but I don't know if you need to do that when you have Norman Powell playing the way that he is. I think the Lakers are probably the most likely, just because it's the Lakers and you've got the clutch connection. You've got Zach, living in LA in the summer and obviously having his West Coast ties, and obviously Rich Paul. But I just don't think that I don't know. I think it's and they could make it work in terms of getting to that number. They're in the first apron, so they're hard capped at that number. But there just aren't a lot of good options. I think Orlando could be one. You obviously lose Franz Wagner now with the torn oblique.
Brutal.
Paolo's not back yet. And if they can stay above water and like get themselves together for the playoffs, they'd be fantastic. And they really need an additional perimeter scorer. So I think Zach could fit really well there, but
another Orlando deal.
Yeah, it's tough to get to that money. It's tough to find the right suitor. And then it's not just like Zach is the only player on the trade market. You've got Brandon Ingram there, who's obviously injured right now, but like in a similar boat, making less, and you get to re-sign him to a number that you're more comfortable with longer term. So it's just going to be tough.
Crush.
Speaking of other players on the market, I did also want to touch on that a little bit before we get out of here. If Zach LaVine, just because of his contract and the CBA rules, is untradeable right now, this season, maybe they can try again next offseason. Assuming That's true. It doesn't mean that AK and Eversley shouldn't try to make some moves, I think, between now and that February deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Because, this team is 10-15. The East is bad. You got a couple tankers out west, too.
Couple.
And we all know how important that top 10 pick is. We can pretend to not think that that's the focus on certain game nights when somebody plays well or something exciting happens. That's the most important thing. Bottom line. And unless they are truly brain dead, the people who run this team know that too. And by golly, I hope they are not truly brain dead.
By golly.
So, if you're talking about recouping value for other guys whose contracts are not $40 million, Katie, do you have the Bulls cap sheet that I sent you earlier today that we can throw up there real quick?
I sure
Because
do.
starting with Vooch at $20 million and one more year left on his deal as opposed to Zach's 3, there are lots of tradable contracts here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about which ones AK and Eversley might see as guys who they can recoup some value for, as in draft picks or other young players that they like. And maybe in doing so, steer this thing a bit closer to, hey, let's protect that top 10 pick that we should really be protecting.
Mm-hmm.
Which guys do you see as tradable? And not only tradable, but tradable that they might be getting some sort of future-focused asset back for, that AK and Eversley would say, we like this young player. He does not need to be a part of our core moving forward. Because that's a tough question to answer as a Bulls fan.
No, because they love everybody. That's why I'm saying all that. It's hard to answer that question for them because they have. I mean, look at the roster they've constructed. These are guys that they like. They're high on. They like these dudes. So that's what makes it tough. For me, everybody's tradable. The only one that's not is Modest. That's it. And that's because they just drafted him and he's a rookie. But everybody else, I feel you should be taking phone calls on. You should be listening. What my man Tim Legler said, 8 phones. Have them out. Everyone rings, pick it up, listen to what teams have to tell you. Obviously, I think Torrey Craig and Vooch are the easiest for me. As far as you can get some value back. Even if I'm packaging both of them together, I can get some value back for those guys. Yes. But then you have other guys like Javon Carter. You've got even Kobe White. Whoever else you feel that you are high end on this team, that you might get your feelings hurt when you ask for what you want to ask for out there, from the trade deadline. I don't know. But a surefire for me are those two. I immediately think of Torrey Craig and I immediately think of Nikola Vucevic because of the contract, because of the way he's going to be an all-star this season. So he actually has momentum to actually go into this trade deadline, and you can show teams this, and they could probably give you something to kind of reset your team and reset your future at the same time. So like you said, steering, when you say steer, he means into an iceberg because he wants this joint to crash.
I didn't see it, I promise.
Trust me. That's
I forgot my binoculars.
It was right there.
True story.
I didn't know where it went.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. everybody should be on block.
Yeah.
I think there's hope that you could get something for Lonzo with the way that he's playing and being an expiring contract. I think Torrey Craig is a veteran wing who plays a premium position, making $2.8 million. That's minimum salary. That's something that you could definitely move. Javon Carter, Chris Duarte, those guys aren't in the rotation. If you can get something for them, by all means. I think you have to be open to offers on Kobe and Ayo. I understand why people would be against that. But I think that if you're talking about building for the future, you could create a future of yours with them in it, but you could also get some picks for them. If you're a team that really needs that scoring boost and maybe you can't trade for Zach LaVine because you can't get the salary, well, you could definitely trade for Kobe because he's making 13. So I think everybody should be, I agree, Modest. You're probably not getting better value than what than his potential.
Sure.
So it makes more sense to keep him at this point. But I just think it's going to be really tough. And in the comments, I think Marcellus is asking about the Pacers and the Suns. The Pacers are less than $1 million from the luxury tax. That they're not going into the luxury tax, and the Suns are well into the second apron. So the only way that would work is if you get back Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. Maybe you could do Beal for Zach. I think that would be a win for the Suns, but Now the Bulls are taking back extra salary, and you're going to need a pick for that. And he's also got a no trade clause.
Indeedy. That's going to do it for us here. If you are watching on one of our many fast channels, hey, thanks for tuning in. If you want to catch the rest of the show, we got a little bonus time coming up. Head to allchgo.com. And while we are taking a little break, just probably a good time to give you all a quick reminder that we have a big old fun event coming up.
Big old fun.
It is one of our new ALLCITY top shelf events.
Flex.
Think VIP. Flex. Think coolest of the cool.
The flex
Think
event.
all the awesomeness.
Capital F.
The CHGO Bulls sweet takeover for Derrick Rose night at the United Center, January 4th. That's less than a month away.
Yeah.
How about that? Bulls, Knicks in the house to honor the official retirement of Derrick Rose.
True indeed.
Can't
It's
wait.
happening.
Our CHGO diehards, which there are lots more of you now after we ran that Cyber Monday sale.
Welcome.
Congratulations to all of you and welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the Cool Kids Club. Get a significant discount on this top shelf takeover that we are doing. Tickets are going and they are limited. So if you want to be in a United Center suite with us, with Uncle Will Perdue, 4-time champ, and your fellow Bulls fans to watch the night of nights for Bulls fans, honestly. We're sitting here talking about the trade deadline that's still 2 months away and a team that's 10-15 and might not be bad enough. This is the state of things as Bulls fans. It ain't pretty. Derrick Rose night will be pretty.
Yeah.
So come hang out with us.
I mean, the tickets in the 100 section for $500. Like, come hang out with us, y'all. Like, come hang out. Maximize your
dollars.
And
those resale tickets are only getting more and more expensive.
It's going, man.
Coming days and weeks. Man.
Plus the food and the drinks and the dessert card.
It's sweet. Right. Food and drinks are included in that ticket price if you do it with us.
I'm going to keep saying it. Nobody plays Royal Fanfare when you walk into the United Center if you're not with us, okay?
I can't wait for that to be a thing that happens. Oh, my God.
That's gonna be fun. What a fun night.
Okay, so just to wrap up this trade combo, like if I'm AK and Eversley, as you reminded us that the way Legler put it, Dave, have 8 phones on and open at once.
Yeah.
And I think you have got to consider, like, some of them it's a no-brainer. Like, do you want to give us an asset for Javon Carter?
Yes.
He's on his way.
Thank you.
Torrey Craig, he is on his way.
Out of here.
I do think that there is a real possibility they find a deal for Vooch.
Yeah, I agree.
That $20 million is a lot more stomachable.
Yeah.
That is way different than Zach's. There are a lot more $20-something million contracts floating around the NBA that other teams around the NBA are willing to move or trying to move right now.
Yeah.
It's if you get the Vooch domino, does that involve one of the smaller dominoes? Is it, that was one of the other pieces of reporting we were talking about last week, I think, is that, like, if there's some teams out there that might be willing to trade for a Zach or a Vooch, they might want Dalen Terry to come with them. They might want Julian Phillips to come with them.
Okie doke.
Oh, to me, okie doke. My sweet special boy, that would hurt.
I'm
sure it would hurt you.
I don't want
Dalen
to
gets thrown in there
at all.
But again, you have to prioritize protecting this pick. And in my opinion, I know we don't all see exactly eye to eye on this. Protecting it as mathematically sturdily as you freaking can. And that does not mean hovering around 3 or 4 wins under 500. It does not.
Yeah, protect your pick, make these trades. You're right about Vooch. I think you would get a lot of calls about him, especially once that All-Star appearance happens, or selection, I should say, happens for him. He's just been outstanding right now for the Chicago Bulls with his three-point shooting, his play inside and outside. You see what the team looks like when he doesn't get the ball. And you've seen the last 2 games. They have lost both of those games when he does not have the ball in his hands and is able to do what he does best. So, yeah, Vooch is definitely going to be one of those guys they'll get calls about. I don't think they should be thinking about positions of strength right now. They should just be thinking about, like you said, Matt, getting the most to help maximize your pick. So whatever they give you back, Doritos, roll of tape, coupons, you know what I'm saying? Like,
take all those things.
We'll take all those things. You know what I mean? Pennies, like we can take them all over here, bro. So you can't be too picky. I don't think because of the position you have put yourself in, I don't think you're allowed to be picky anymore. So whatever you can get for these guys, maximize it, get it, grab it, keep moving forward, and keep this, what do you call it? Keep this boat steered right into the thing that you can't see through the fog for some reason. I don't know what's behind there, but I'm going to keep going in the fog. Yeah, I'm just going to keep driving. Oh, my God, I didn't know it was there.
Uh-oh. I just hope they don't see that play-in tournament carrot in the fog, through all the fog.
How's the carrot looking?
It's always out there. It's always out there. That carrot's always there. The play-in tournament.
Oh,
Such a
man.
delicious carrot.
I can have that, but it's a carrot. Oh, it's delicious.
Even if you dunk that in all the most delicious blue cheese dressing in the world, it still won't taste good going down.
Not blue cheese. Oh my God.
You don't like blue cheese?
Ranch all the way.
Nah, blue cheese.
Blue cheese is
Deliciousness
nasty.
abounds in the world.
Yeah.
There is room for all cream-based dressings.
It's true. Because if you tell me you're out of blue cheese, I'll still eat the ranch.
If I'm at a wings joint and they say blue cheese or ranch when I order my wings, I say both.
Yeah.
No, you
Bring me
don't.
both.
Do you
He's
really?
right. No,
Yes.
he's right. That's
And
exactly
I
what you said.
alternate blue cheese and ranch
Oh
on
my
every wing that I
God.
eat, like
Ugh.
a proper human being eating wings. This is
Ugh.
how you eat wings.
He's right.
Blue cheese is delicious. Ranch is delicious. Eat them both.
No notes.
Wow, bro.
He's right.
Kobe would agree with me, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Kobe seems like a good eater.
Yeah. He's
Smart
right.
guy.
He's
What?
right.
What?
No, Katie is just, Katie's a child. Keep it together, Katie. Keep it together. Keep it together. Come on. Focus up. Focus up. Keep the focus. Keep the focus. There we go. All right.
What were we talking
Don't worry about that. Just keep
Okay.
moving, bro. Don't worry.
Okay. So, again, December 15th is when a lot of these trades can start getting made. If any of y'all out there happen to have an ESPN Plus account, Bobby Marks put out something today that was overwhelming, but literally basically every contract in the NBA broken into categories of when they could be traded, what their salary level is, et cetera, et cetera. Great resource if you do have ESPN Plus. That I just scrolled through the entirety of earlier today, and I was like, wow, okay. But so December 15th, a big date to keep in mind. Also keep in mind Patrick Williams. That's January 15th. So, gentlemen, here's you know what? Just to wrap up because it's fun.
Oh man!
They finally, after 3 years of not making any trade, not a single freaking trade, they traded Caruso, right?
Yeah.
In this past June. Do the Bulls make any trades between now and the deadline? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. I think so.
Yes.
I will say they freaking better.
Oh,
No, they're not going to.
Would I believe it if we were sitting here after the trade deadline passed doing our live trade deadline show saying they didn't make any? Yeah, I could believe that.
Yeah.
I could easily believe that.
We've done it.
Again, 3 years, no trades.
We've done it.
We've only done that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's all we know. It's our only thing we know.
It's the Bulls.
He's doing nothing.
It's the Bulls.
Yeah.
As I said the other day, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
I think they're gonna make a move. I think they're gonna make a move. I don't think they're gonna be able to trade Zach. I don't know if they're gonna be able to trade Vooch because, like, we could spend a whole hour on this. I just don't know who's giving you like a good asset for him. But if you want to trade him for a second or two,
Like I said,
Right.
take the
I mean,
Doritos with-
somebody in the comments earlier was saying, like, if we could steal 2 first-rounders for Vooch, I'm like,
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, slow down.
chance.
Our fellow Bulls fans in the comments, good for you. Somebody I saw corrected. I'm like, what? Two firsts for Vooch? Not happening.
Look,
Definitely
man,
not.
Take the Doritos.
I think because they did explain themselves later, and they were saying like, if somebody's crazy and offers us this.
Oh,
So yeah, they weren't saying like they expect 2 first-round picks.
Yes.
They were just saying like, if there's a psycho out there.
that's
you know,
that's
that
great
kind of
advice,
thing.
AK and Eversley. Try and find a psycho to make some trades with.
Do you want to? Never mind.
What? Were you about to dive back into the blue cheese
No,
and ranch debate, Katie?
I could.
What defines a psycho?
I
Someone
was-
who doesn't order ranch and blue cheese with their wings.
That is psycho. I was gonna say if you want a psycho, just my dating history is open. Like, go for it.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man.
She's not joking.
Can I go home now?
Yeah, sure
On
you
that
can.
note.
Almost. Yeah, we are out of time. We're actually past time. But that's okay because y'all got more sports content coming up for you, Chicago sports fans. We have CHGO White Sox show at a special time, 6 p.m., breaking down all of what's going on in the MLB winter meetings. Simultaneously to that, our Blackhawks crew is doing a live watch-along tonight. Woo! Blackhawks, hockey action, watch-along action, and a post-game to follow. So still tons of CHGO content for y'all on the way.
Mhm.
6 p.m. Central Time is when that's all getting rolling. So do not take that CHGO Sports YouTube channel tab away.
No.
You leave it right here.
Mhm.
Hit that like button on your way out and do it for Katie.
Mhm.
After you do that, get yourself a ticket to our top shelf CHGO Bulls takeover
That's
on
right.
Derrick Rose retirement night.
Uh-huh.
Follow Cope for his Bulls reporting, Will_Gottlieb, the Quaff. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. Become a diehard so you can read all of it and the best of it.
Yeah.
Big Dave is at BLEAK Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. And we are back tomorrow, again, live 4 p.m. Central with another fresh pod for you guys. Shout out, as always, to Queen on the Controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. Have a great Monday night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you, everybody good.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.